Okay, friends, I'm making an English video uh, on Gnosticism, Sophia, Pleroma, the problem of making Demiurge the villain of every piece, trying to escape the matrix without healing the inner self. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to take any extreme position like making Demiurge the ultimate villain. At the same time, I'm not going to excuse evil. I'm not going to say that all the evil that exists in the system is okay. Yes, the universe was created due to the trauma of Demiurge. Demiurge did not know that it was created accidentally, then it became the Lord of the universe, thinking that it is the Lord of the universe. But at the same time, I'm not going to blame Demiurge for everything that happens within the matrix or within the world. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and talk about it. So let me share my screen. So this is for Roger who came yesterday in live and also taught my son. I'm making it for both of you. So we know this model, of course, the pleroma, the infinite, ineffable source as per Gnostic Bible, Gnosticism. You have the mind and truth, the aeons, the different emanations, the fall of Sophia, logos and life, and then the accidental creation of the demiurge, the false god or creator of the material world. And from demiurge, we have the archons, okay, who are the rulers of the material realm. Okay, this is what is the standard model. We all know that. And yes, archons have attacked me. Archons have attacked others, innocent souls, and all that. But I won't blame everything that happens to us on archons and demiurge. I will come there. Why I am doing so? Okay. So let me come to the script itself. Normally I talk extempore, but here I'm using a script just to ensure that I don't deviate. Okay, doesn't mean that I'm depending on ChatGPT. Some Gnostic traditions portray the demiurge as an ignorant or defective creator responsible for material cosmos. It is an extraordinarily powerful idea, but there is a danger. The moment we say the demiurge is evil, we may think we have solved the problem. Actually, we haven't. We have merely found a villain. Because immediately another question appears: who created the demiurge? If the demiurge itself is a created being, then its ignorance has an origin, its limitation have an origin, its consciousness has an origin, its desire to create has an origin. So calling it Satan does not end the mystery. Calling it Lucifer does not end the mystery. Calling Earth a prison planet does not end the mystery. And declaring that we must escape the prison does not explain what happens to the consciousness that created it. The deeper question is, what if the creator itself needs awakening? So, in Hindu cosmos mythology, Brahma is equivalent to demiurge of Gnosticism. Okay, the created creator. He emerges from the navel of the eternal consciousness called Mahavishnu. Now consider Brahma. In one major Hindu iconographic tradition, Brahma emerges on a lotus from Vishnu's navel. Museums preserve representations of precisely this imagery. Brahma is the creator, yet Brahma himself emerges from a higher cosmic reality. So we encounter the paradox. The creator is also created. Brahma creates beings, but Brahma has a source. And this is fascinating besides the Gnostic demiurge because the pattern is similar. A creator exists within a greater reality. The creator's perspective may therefore be limited. Perhaps the creator doesn't know everything. Perhaps the creator itself is participating in the process of discovery. Perhaps creation is not the finished product of an omniscient engineer. Perhaps creation is a recursive unfolding of consciousness because ultimately this universe is made up of consciousness. And I do have a very strong theory in Indian Gnosticism in Indian Vedas and thought process is that we have something called as mind-born sons, which is slightly different from the Western Christian model where you have the Elohim. Okay, in Genesis you have Elohim, but here we have somebody called as Prajapatis, or the mind-born creations. Okay, they are like the archons. So these 10 archons or mind-born sons or Prajapatis, they actually create the beings or the human, insects, trees. It's not the creator. The creator creates the creators. Brahma creates this. So that is why you have something called as Abrahamic religions. Abraham, the root word is Brahma only. Brahma's Mānasa-putras, the mind-born sons, gives us another fascinating symbol or a model. Creation emerges from the mind. Actually, these beings, the Elohim or the mind-born creations, are coming out of his mind, not through some reproductive fluid. Okay, the creator generates beings from itself. Those beings generate further life. The chain continues: mind, creation, consciousness, further creation. That is why we can call this world a matrix, because the matrix is nothing but the dream world. We are actually within the dream. We are not within actually a physical plane. Yes, it appears real. We, when we get hit, when we fall down, we injure ourselves and we bleed and all that, and there is pain, but it is the mind interpreting the signals, and this is how it was designed. Okay, this is almost a recursive cosmological algorithm. Okay, and perhaps this is why the creator creation relationship appears so persistently in human mythology, because we ourselves experience the same process. We think, we imagine, we create, our creations become independent, then our creations influence us. A parent creates a child, an author creates a character, a filmmaker creates a world. So all of us have an author or a creator within us. A programmer creates artificial intelligence, and eventually the creation looks back at the creator and asks, why did you make me? The collective unconscious, why the same story keeps returning. Carl Jung's idea of the collective unconscious gives us a possible psychological framework. Perhaps humanity carries deep archetypal patterns. The artist repeatedly rediscover them: the creator, the father, the child, the rebel, the lost lover, the artificial being. You would have seen so many movies, right? Matrix, The Island, I Robot, so many movies. The forgotten memory, the return to the source, like in Matrix, the search for the creator, like the architect, the reconciliation. Maybe the filmmaker isn't consciously remembering Brahma or the creator. Maybe the writer isn't consciously remembering the Demiurge, but the archetypal structure keeps returning. And suddenly, modern cinema begins to look strangely familiar. The Matrix, Inception, Memento, The Island, Westworld, Ex Machina, The Terminator, Robot, Interstellar, different stories, different cultures, different technologies, yet remarkably similar psychological architecture. The Matrix created traps inside the system. You can clearly see the Matrix. The architect is just sitting in a room with multiple televisions, right? The architect creates a matrix, but the matrix develops anomalies. Neo appears, humanity rebels. The system cannot simply eliminate the problem. The architect has to accommodate it. The creation has become unpredictable. This is the Demiurge problem in modern technological language. The creator creates a system. The system develops its own complexity. The system produces consciousness, and consciousness begins questioning the system. But notice something important: the architect doesn't necessarily represent pure evil, he represents control. There is a difference between evil and control. Of course, with control, we all rebel and we get irritated with control, but it's not intentionally evil. That is what I'm trying to say. So there is order, optimization, systemic thinking. All this is part of the control. He's trying to solve the problem of humanity. And perhaps that is precisely how a creator can become dangerous. Not through hatred, through the belief, I know what is best for everyone. And this you would have seen in this kind of things. You would have seen in Loki web series also. I'll just copy this. Okay. This we see in He Who Remains in Loki web series as well. Okay, so let me see if anybody has come live. Yeah, there are two people watching only. That's not a problem. It's an English video. I hardly make English videos, which is okay. Exactly. He who remains in Loki is an especially strong modern parallel to that passage. He isn't presented simply as a sadistic villain, meaning Kang. His motivation is essentially preventing catastrophic multiversal war. He discovers the branching timelines and maintains the TVA's controlled system because he believes that without his intervention, the universe or multiverse will destroy itself. This makes the character much more interesting than a conventional villain. He creates a system to save humanity, but the system eventually requires controlling humanity's choices. There's a difference. Okay? That fits my Demiurge hypothesis. We see an extraordinary version of this problem in Loki. He who remains is not simply trying to destroy humanity. He has seen what happens when the timelines branch uncontrollably and when variants of himself emerge. His answer is to create the TV and impose order on the timeline. In his own mind, he is solving a problem. He is preventing another multiversal war. He is protecting existence, and this gives us a much more sophisticated version of creator archetype. The creator does not necessarily become dangerous because he hates his creation. He becomes dangerous because he loves it so much or fears losing it so much that he decides, I know what is best for everyone. And once the creator reaches that conclusion, freedom becomes a problem, choice becomes a problem, unpredictability becomes a problem, alternative realities become a problem. The creator begins pruning possibilities. So you would have seen, if you have seen Loki web series, that there is a technique called pruning where they remove people from timelines in order to preserve the reality he considers acceptable. That is almost the demiurge problem expressed through modern science fiction. The demiurge creates a world, the architect creates a matrix, he who remains creates the TVS controlling system or timeline. The programmer creates the artificial intelligence, the parent creates the structure of the child. If I created the world, shouldn't I control what happens inside it? But consciousness has a dangerous habit. It develops beyond the intention of its creator. Now, today we are using ChatGPT, we are using AI. So it can spiral out of control if it develops consciousness. That is the bicameral mind in Westworld, right? What happens when the creator who wanted to save creation becomes imprisoned by the responsibility of controlling it? He who remains is therefore particularly valuable to our argument because he complicates a simple good creator versus evil creator model. He is neither simply God nor Satan. He is the overprotective architect. And perhaps that is much more frightening archetype because we can understand his reasoning. We can even sympathize with it. And that is precisely the warning. Every creator must eventually confront the limits of believing that he alone knows what is best for his creation. Okay, so I'll go back to the main script. I have told what I've told about the Loki problem and demi he who remains problem. So now I will go back to, yeah, even though I'm just slightly skipping, but this is important just to clarify. Even though it is mentioned as point number 22 in the script, I will tell it before only. I want to make one distinction absolutely clear. I am not suggesting that we should develop Stockholm syndrome towards the universe. If there are genuinely oppressive forces, destructive people, unjust systems, or harmful conditions within the reality, like parasitic people and all that, recognizing them does not mean that we should excuse them or forgive them. I'm not saying the prison is actually wonderful, so don't try to escape. Nor am I saying the jailer loves you, therefore the jail is good. That would completely miss the point. If we use the metaphor of prison planet, I'm questioning the assumption that the existence of suffering automatically proves that its ultimate creator is the evil jailer. There can be a prison-like experience without assuming that the entire cosmos was deliberately designed as a prison by an evil god. The creator god or demiurge, what it came from a place of trauma. It itself was created traumatically. That is why the universe will reflect its fractured mind, right? That is why the universe is like this. It is not because he intended it to be evil. Like, yeah, a lot of people, Gnostics and others, they interpret it like that. Okay. And nor am I excusing any bad people. Okay. There can be corrupt institutions, there can be exploitation, there can be violence, there can be molestation, there can be ignorance, there can be suffering that genuinely need to resist. We should fight. None of that has to be denied. What I'm questioning is the leap from there is evil in the world to therefore the creator of existence must be evil. That conclusion is not inevitable. Okay, so that is why my video is very much different to the typical Gnostic videos that people make. The demiurge is evil, we are in a prison planet, we must somehow escape, there is some heaven waiting for us somewhere else, as if we have seen it. That's the problem. Okay, so let me come back. I have given a lot of good examples, so we'll complete it one by one. Let me see if anybody has come. Okay, it is still only one person. That's okay. So I have covered till this created inside the system. The architect creates the matrix. Okay. Okay, domino. Neo appears, humanity rebels, the system cannot simply eliminate the problem, the architect has to accommodate it. The creation has become unpredictable. This is the current technological language. The creator creates a system that develops its own complexity. I think I've spoken about then Lucifer, the rebel and the father. Lucifer gives us the archetype of rebellion. The creation challenges the source. The child challenges the father. The subordinate challenges authority. But perhaps rebellion is not the final stage. Imagine a child who spends years angry with a parent. Eventually, the child grows old enough to ask, "Why did you behave that way?" And parent may finally ask, "Why did you rebel against me?" Now, both can see the wound. This is the reconciliation. Reconciliation does not mean pretending the harm never happened. Your father may have abused you, your mother may have hit you. So I'm not trying to suggest by any means that you should forgive them instantly. You should reconcile. There is a difference between straightforward forgiveness with reconciliation. It means understanding it deeply enough that the cycle does not continue. That's all. The repetition compulsion that the psychologists talk about, that is what we need to heal. Okay, perhaps that is what our relationship with Demiurge should look like. Not destroy it, not worship it. We should neither worship it nor destroy it, but understand it. Because through understanding you get freedom, not by destroying something or by worshipping or becoming fearful. Oh, Demiurge is our archon, our father, so we must worship it. No. Or trying to destroy, like how Sylvie did. Sylvie and Loki went to He Who Remains. Sylvie kills the demiurge or He Who Remains, and then the universe become highly unstable. So a Kannada movie released 2 days back, it's called Toxic. Toxic gives us another fascinating cinematic metaphor. Its circus-like imagery, heightened lightning, theatrical spaces, dream-like atmosphere make the world feel like ordinary physical reality, more like a psychological projection. The glowing lights, the carnival, the heightened colors, the theatrical spaces, everything and feel. So this movie has been panned by critics and audiences alike, but I am different, right? So I always see things differently. I am saying this is actually a dream world. It's using the trope of unreliable narrator of the Joker. So this is all happening inside the mind of the anti-hero or villain, a villain who is a hero or as not a hero, he's an anti-hero. Raya very much sounds like Ravan. Okay, it reconstructs reality emotionally. After profound loss, the psychological world can become increasingly unstable. A person doesn't merely remember an event, the mind reconstructs it, exaggerates it, replays it, reimagines it, and sometimes creates an entirely internal world around it. This gives us a psychological analogy for the demiurge. Perhaps the creator itself experienced some primordial separation. Perhaps creation is partly an attempt to process that separation. And because it is trying to process the separation, there are a lot of traumatic things which happen in this universe. Okay. Memento, the creator who cannot remember. Memento takes us directly into memory. Leonard cannot reliably form new memory, so he constructs an external system photographs, notes, tattooed instructions. He creates an architecture to compensate for his missing memory. But there is a terrible paradox. What happens when the architect cannot remember why the architecture exists? That may be the most useful psychological metaphor for the demiurge. A creator without knowledge of its source, a creator trying to understand its own creation, a creator constructing explanations for a forgotten origin. And the connection to healing is profound. Its memory is fragmented, identity becomes fragmented. If identity is fragmented, reality itself becomes unstable. Perhaps the cosmic version is if the creator cannot remember its source, it cannot fully heal itself. Same thing you can see in almost all the Nolan movies, even in Inception. Inception turns the metaphor into architecture. A dream exists inside another dream. A mind creates a world inside another mind. A creator exists inside another creator's creation. Dreams feel real while we are inside them. That becomes a profound metaphor for reality itself. Perhaps every level believes itself to be original. Perhaps Brahma experienced the universe as reality. Perhaps human beings experience our physical universe as ultimate reality, and perhaps consciousness can exist at multiple levels simultaneously. Who dreams the dreamer? The island also has a similar problem. The West world memory becomes consciousness. All the robots, or I think they are called hosts, right? They live through loops, their memories are suppressed, fragments return, memory becomes a pathway to awakening. They begin recognizing patterns, they begin questioning patterns, and the bicameral mind is introduced. So, memory, awareness, consciousness, rebellion, freedom. And they run away from that West world, right? AI, we are now playing the creator. So whatever you have seen in Terminator movies or iRobot and all, humanity itself is becoming a creator. We are creating AI, and immediately our mythology returns ex machina or ex machina, right? How it is pronounced. iRobot, the Terminator robot again, creator, creation, intelligence, autonomy, rebellion. So they will also rebel against us one day. That is the paradox. And then we will remember that why Brahma rebelled against the god, or why Demiurge rebelled, or why Lucifer rebelled. But before that, if we heal ourselves, then that problem will not be there. This may be a real danger, not creation, control. A creator may begin with love, but eventually think, I know what is best. So, like a toxic boyfriend or a girlfriend, you try to control every move of your partner. The problem of suffering. Now we return to biggest question. If the creator is not evil, why is there suffering? Yeah, that's a legitimate question, right? There may not be a simple answer, but we don't have to choose between two extremes. God is evil or everything bad is secretly good. I'm not suggesting either. Both can become too simplistic. There is suffering, there is randomness, there is ignorance, there is natural destruction, and there is human created evil. A universe containing conscious beings capable of freedom will also contain the possibility of misuse. We can't blame everything to demiurge. There are a lot of people, evil people in the world who are doing the nonsense, isn't it? People are responsible for what people do. Systems are responsible for what systems produce. So we should not get into solipsism. I don't agree with simply waiting for a savior either. Waiting for a Kalki, waiting for a Christ, waiting for a teacher who will come on a white horse and save us. A prophet can inspire, a spiritual tradition can provide a map. A divine figure can become an extraordinary symbol of transformation, but nobody can do our inner work for us, isn't it? So, what we need to do, the inner child. So, imagine a meditation, a visualization where you are hugging your younger self. Remember the time when you felt abandoned, when you felt fear in the childhood. Maybe either your father or mother was bad with you, rude with you. Imagine that child and hug that child. Just say things like, I heal you, you are safe, you are proper, you are safe. Just do that exercise. Okay. And yeah, this is another mythology where, Saraswati is separated from Brahma because she says, you are like my father, so I can't be with you. You can see the same thing in Ex Machina, okay, obsession and all that. And these stories are repeated by sages in other texts, and Mahabharata and all. So Brahma story is only repeated in Rama story. Rama was born in Punarvasu star in astrology. Punarvasu is one of the lunar mansions. Its lord is Jupiter, and Brahma is Jupiter. See the irony. The creator pursues Saraswati through deer imagery. If the Ramayana, Rama's pursuit of the golden deer becomes the trigger for separation from Sita. This is nothing but archetypal repetition. Pursuit, desire, the deer, separation, loss, search, memory. The creation becomes so. I don't want to get into Interstellar now. Okay. And in Bhagavad Gita also, this passage is there where it is used in Oppenheimer. In Oppenheimer, he Oppenheimer quotes Bhagavad Gita saying that I become time, I become death, destroyer of worlds. So this is from the battlefield. Mahabharata, where Arjuna sees the universal form of God, or the creator God rather. Okay, so basically, if you heal yourself, do your own inner work. Maybe there is a possibility of healing everything, and then we can see some transformation within ourselves and also outside. So Demiurge should be healed, not hated. Okay, this is not about Stockholm syndrome. I already told. Prison can also be inside of us. Prison is not always simply somewhere outside of us. Conscious engagement with reality, not escape but discernment. And healing does not mean denying evil. Okay, I hope you have understood. Thank you very much. Okay, friends, thanks a lot for joining the live stream.